It was a story that threw the sporting world into chaos just months out from an Olympic Games. A report by Canadian lawyer Richard McLaren, commissioned by the World Anti-Doping Agency, revealed more than 1,000 elite Russian athletes across 30 sports had benefited from a state-sponsored doping program. Attention was mainly focused on athletics, especially with it being an Olympic year and allegations of corruption in the sport's governing body. But more than 30 Russian footballers were also implicated as part of the wide net that investigators had cast. At the time, the identity of those footballers wasn't clear. Now, an investigation by a British newspaper has revealed the entire 23-man Russian squad for the 2014 World Cup is under investigation by FIFA, and so are 11 other players. Russia's Deputy Prime Minister and Chairman of 2018 World Cup Russia, Vitaly Mutko, has denied any wrongdoing on the part of the athletes, saying there have never been and will never be any problems with doping in our football. They have written some sort of nonsense. Mutko is a figurehead of Russian sport who's been under an immense amount of scrutiny. He's already been accused in a previous WADA investigation of covering up a failed drug test by a banned foreign footballer in the Russian league. He was also the country's sports minister during the entire period covered by the McLaren report. With the next Football World Cup less than a year away, being hosted by Russia and organised by Mutko, FIFA are dragged into the spotlight. Former WADA chief Dick Pound has been among the loudest voices calling on FIFA to act, saying, "I've seen too many presentations by FIFA straight out of Fantasyland about how they don't have a problem. They absolutely have to take this case seriously. Even within a governing body with as little credibility remaining as FIFA, if you were a senior official, you wouldn't want to be a part of a body that ignores this." FIFA haven't provided any other information other than confirming there's an investigation. But critics are already questioning whether they would ever dare rain on their grandest parade.
We can bring investigative journalist Nick Harris into the conversation now. He's been one of the leading journalists looking into this Russian doping scandal. Now, Nick, with 34 Russian footballers implicated in all of this, how can FIFA actually ignore this? Surely this must be raising a lot more questions about their suitability as hosts for the big event next year.
Absolutely. I mean, just to be clear about this, FIFA have, to our knowledge, had information about 34 separate footballers in their possession since December. So we're talking about more than 6 months. Just this weekend on Sunday, we finally revealed that 23 of those footballers are the entire 23-man squad from the Russia World Cup team of 2014. The 11 other players are a mixture of players playing in the Russian league and also significantly in the Russian under-21 international team and the Russia under-17 team. So FIFA have had this information. They were handed it by the McLaren investigatory team via WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, back in December. You have to think that after 6 months since they've said they would look at this, that they would be in a position to provide some kind of significant update on what they're doing. And all they will do is effectively say, we're investigating, no comment. Huge amount of questions about the credibility of FIFA, about the credibility of Russia to be answered, but nobody giving any significant, worthwhile answers. And I think, you would have to be concerned about that.
No question. And actually somebody we can listen to right now, Nick, is Alexei Sorokin, who is the president of the Russian World Cup 2018 organizing committee.
In general, there hasn't been a single doping incident in the Russian football in many recent years. So maybe we should discuss other things other than this. We do not regard this as any serious matter.
There you have Sorokin basically denying any wrongdoing of any kind. So if the Russian national team is found guilty, do you think that FIFA has the actual courage to ban the team from actually participating in their own World Cup?
No, I don't think you would mark FIFA out as a global governing body with courage in a situation like this, where their showcase tournament is taking place in Russia next year in Vladimir Putin's Russia. You can see how close FIFA and their president, Gianni Infantino, is to Russia and to Mr. Putin, with the smiling, happy pictures of them together in St. Petersburg last week. I think FIFA is hugely conflicted here. What FIFA should probably be doing, if it was a grown-up, mature, genuinely sort of responsible world governing body, it should be handing its investigation of these cases to avoid any sort of accusations of vested interest to an independent third party, sort of independent counsel, because they don't have any credibility really to properly investigate it. They haven't done anything so far that they've told the world about and that we know about, apart from saying no comment. So I have no confidence that they're really handling this in a significant way, and I have zero confidence that they would take any significant action. They definitely won't strip Russia of the World Cup. I'm certain they won't ban Russia from the World Cup. The question is whether they will actually do anything in terms of releasing findings before the World Cup is staged. And secondly, if they do, you'd have to put your money on the fact they would come up with some kind of form of words that said there was insufficient evidence for further action, because it's ripe for a whitewash, and I'd love FIFA to prove me wrong, to be clear and open and transparent about what they're doing, what they've looked at and what they found. But, you know...
Okay, well, Nick, just stay there for one quick minute, because we actually have to go on to another big brewing story that also involves Vitaly Muko, Russia and FIFA. Now, the McLaren report has shed light on one of the biggest ever doping scandals, but there's another report about football specifically that has remained out of the public eye until now. The document in question is a 2014 report by FIFA's then independent ethics investigator, Michael Garcia, into claims of corruption allegations surrounding the Qatar 2022 World Cup bid. The full report, more than 400 pages, was never published, and after FIFA executives unanimously agreed to publish a suppressed 42-page summary which cleared Qatar of any wrongdoing. Now, Garcia then quit his role at FIFA in December 2014 because of the handling of the report, saying it contained numerous materially incomplete and erroneous representations. But now, the original published report has found its way into the hands of German newspaper Bild, which has planned to publish it in its entirety, only for FIFA to jump the gun and publish the full version themselves. So, Nick, why do you think that FIFA has decided to do this, to beat Bild to the punch, to go ahead and publish it itself? Does that mean that they have absolutely nothing to hide then?
Well, FIFA have released a statement saying they were considering doing this anyway, and just coincidentally, they've published the whole thing this afternoon in the last couple of hours, just as Bild are preparing to publish their story tonight and tomorrow. So, coincidence? I'm not sure I really buy that. I've spent the last couple of hours starting to get, it's a huge document, there's lots of detail in there, there's lots of stuff that it will be fascinating. We've already sort of been told by Bild that there's not a definitive smoking gun that proves that Russia or Qatar bought the World Cups that they won the right to host. However, even in the limited amount of sort of pages I've read in the last couple of hours, there's plenty more questions than answers in there. For example, just farcical levels of non-compliance with the investigatory team by the 22 guys who actually voted on these things. Most of them either didn't speak to the investigators to tell them why they voted or to give evidence, or when they did, they were bullish, rude, arrogant, refused to comply. Russia, when they were investigated, said that, you know, basically they'd lost or they'd given back all the computers they used to the company they'd leased them off during their bid, so they didn't have any records or very few records that they could hand to the investigators, which was hugely convenient, you might say. Other stuff that is in there, Jack Warner, the now disgraced and banned, indicted also by the FBI in America for racketeering and criminality, former FIFA Exco member, just going through the document now, comical levels of corruption, asking for bribes, kickbacks, favours. This is stuff that we already knew. I'm not saying anything that's going to get us into legal trouble. Jack Warner is an established crook.
Well, Nick, I'm very, very sorry. We're going to have to leave it there for now, but no doubt I'm sure we'll come back to you for more.